The diplomatic shuttle hummed quietly as it approached the massive space station. Inside, HFY Park adjusted her formal blue uniform, checking one last time that every detail was perfect. At 26, she was the youngest diplomat ever chosen to represent Earth at the Galactic Council. "Remember to bow at exactly 30 degrees, said Captain Taeho Kim. "These aliens notice everything." HFY smiled. 6 months of training, Captain. "I know the protocols." The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. Through the viewing port, HFY could see the welcoming party, tall, elegant beings with silvery skin and 4 arms. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Humans were newcomers, having only achieved faster-than-light travel 30 years ago. "Ready?" asked Taeho. HFY nodded, her dark eyes bright with determination. "For Earth." The airlock opened with a hiss. HFY stepped forward, making the formal greeting gesture. The Council representatives responded with their own complicated hand movements. "We welcome Earth's ambassador," said the tallest alien in perfect English. "I am High Counselor Vel. You honor us with your presence." For 3 days, the meetings went well. HFY impressed the Council with her knowledge of galactic law and customs. Humans were proving themselves worthy of consideration for membership. On the 4th day, HFY was invited to a private meeting with the Council's inner circle. Captain Taeho objected. "Protocol requires security presence," he argued. "Council chambers are secure," Vel replied coldly. "This is our way." HFY placed a hand on Taeho's arm. "It's fine. This is why I'm here." She followed Vel through massive doors into a circular chamber. 12 council members sat in elevated seats. HFY stood in the center, feeling small but standing tall. "Ambassador Park," began the head counselor, "your species has advanced quickly. Some say too quickly." HFY bowed respectfully. "Humans are eager to learn and contribute to galactic society. During your stay, our scientists have conducted standard biological scans," continued the counselor. "We found something concerning." HFY kept her face neutral, though her heart raced. "May I ask what concerns you?" A holographic display appeared, showing what looked like human DNA strands with certain sections highlighted. "These gene sequences," said Vel, pointing with a long finger. "They are dormant now, but they suggest potential for abilities that would be disruptive." HFY studied the display. "I'm not a geneticist." "What abilities?" "Power that no single species should possess," said another counselor sharply. "Mental abilities. Energy manipulation. Similar patterns have emerged in other species throughout our history." HFY chose her words carefully. "Evolution takes many paths. What matters is how abilities are used, not their existence." The head counselor leaned forward. "And how do we know humans would use such power wisely?" "Your history is filled with conflict. As is the history of every spacefaring race," HFY countered. "We learn from our mistakes. That's why we seek to join you, to learn and grow together." The council members exchanged glances. HFY noticed guards moving closer to the chamber's edges. "I discovered something interesting in your public archives," HFY said suddenly. "Records of 17 species with similar genetic markers to humans. All listed as extinct due to natural disaster within the last 5,000 years. The chamber went silent. "You've been eliminating potential rivals," HFY continued. "Species that might one day equal or surpass the Council's power." Vel's face hardened. "You accessed restricted files." "No," HFY said firmly. "Public historical records. I simply connected the dots." "This proves our point," said the head counselor. "Humans are unpredictable. Dangerous." HFY stood her ground. "We're simply thorough. And we value life in all forms." "Unfortunately, Ambassador," said Vel, "the Council has reached its decision." Guards moved closer. HFY saw them reach for weapons. "My death will only confirm humanity's suspicions," she said quickly. Earth will investigate. A regrettable accident during a security procedure, said the head counselor coldly. A tragic cultural misunderstanding. Ji-hai pressed a small button on her bracelet, the emergency signal to Tae-ho. She straightened her back and stared directly at the council. Remember this moment, she said, her voice strong despite her fear. Humans don't forget. And we don't abandon our own. Energy weapons hummed as they charged. Ji-hai closed her eyes briefly, then opened them to face her killers with dignity. The security feed cut off abruptly. In the Earth Embassy section of the station, alarms blared. Tae-ho and his team raced toward the council chambers, only to be blocked by station security. 3 hours later, the council issued its statement, regrettable incident during standard procedures. Human temperament deemed incompatible with council membership. No further contact advised. On Earth, governments reacted with shock and grief. But in a secure facility beneath Seoul, Director Hansol reviewed the partial footage recovered from Ji-hai's hidden recorder. Assemble the team, he ordered quietly. We're going to find out what really happened to Ambassador Park. As Earth mourned, no one noticed the subtle changes beginning in human DNA across the planet, dormant genes stirring to life. Sungmin moved through the council station's maintenance shafts like a shadow. His specialized suit absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making him nearly invisible to the station's security systems. 3 weeks had passed since Ji-hai's death, and Earth's official protests had been dismissed without consideration. Security patrol approaching Section 7, Hygiene's voice whispered in his ear. From their hidden ship docked at an abandoned service port, she monitored all station communications. Sungmin pressed himself against the wall as footsteps passed below. The council believed humans were primitive, their technology inferior. This arrogance created blind spots his team was exploiting. Clear path to the archives, Hygiene confirmed. You have 12 minutes before the next scan. Sungmin slipped through a narrow access panel into a dimly lit corridor. At the end stood a crystalline door, its surface swirling with patterns of light. The Galactic Archives, where the Council kept records of all known species and their histories. He placed a small device against the security panel. The tool, developed by Earth's best engineers by reverse engineering Council technology, bypassed the lock in seconds. Inside, towering data crystals rose from floor to ceiling, each containing thousands of years of information. Sungmin moved to a terminal and inserted a data chip designed to search for specific information without triggering alerts. Searching for records on human biology and previous species extinction events, he whispered. The terminal hummed. Data flowed into his storage device. 4 minutes remaining, warned Hygiene. Suddenly, the terminal displayed a file marked with high-security emblems. Project Guardian, Species Threat Assessment, the header read. Sungmin's fingers flew across the interface, downloading everything. Security alert in Section 12, Hygiene said urgently. Not related to you, but patrols are increasing. Get out now. Sungmin disconnected and retraced his path through the maintenance tunnels. Twice he froze as guards passed, their elongated shadows sliding across his hiding place. Back aboard their ship, the team gathered around the central table as the stolen data was displayed. Junho, their science specialist, examined the genetic information with growing concern. They've been watching us for centuries, he said, pointing to ancient charts tracking human development. These markers show Council observation posts on Earth dating back to ancient Egypt. Hygiene scrolled through the files. They've classified humans as a Type 7 potential threat, the highest category. The main screen displayed genetic comparisons between humans and other species. Certain sections of DNA were highlighted. These gene sequences, Junho explained, are completely dormant in humans currently. But they're similar to genes found in 17 other species the Council has eliminated. What are these genes for? Asked Sungmin. Junho expanded the display. According to Council science, they could eventually develop into psionic abilities, telepathy, telekinesis, energy manipulation. No wonder they killed Ji-hai, Hygiene said softly. She must have discovered this during her research. A new file appeared on screen. Tactical plans labeled Earth Containment Initiative. The room fell silent as they reviewed the details. They're assembling a fleet, Sunmin finally said. A sterilization force. Arrival at Earth in 6 days. The Council isn't just planning to isolate us, Junho added grimly. They're planning to eliminate our entire species. Director Hansol, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. What about these abilities they fear? Is there any truth to it? Junho studied the genetic data. Theoretically, yes. The potential is there, but natural evolution would take thousands of years to activate these genes. Unless the process could be accelerated, suggested Hygiene. Alarms suddenly blared. On the viewscreen, Council security vessels appeared, moving toward their docking location. They've detected us, Sungmin said, rushing to the pilot's station. The small Earthship detached from the station and accelerated away, its stealth systems activating. Behind them, Council ships launched in pursuit. We need to warn Earth, said Hansol. Send everything we've found, the genetic data, the fleet plans, all of it. Hygiene's fingers danced across the communications array. Long-range communication is being jammed, she reported. We need to get closer to a relay point. The ship shuddered as energy weapons grazed its shields. Hold on, Sunman called, pushing the engines beyond their limits. The stars blurred as they jumped to faster-than-light speed, temporarily escaping their pursuers. In the brief calm that followed, they reviewed more of the stolen data. Records showed Council agents had manipulated Earth politics for centuries, subtly restricting human advancement whenever possible. They've been containing us, Hansol realized. Keeping us from reaching our potential. And now they've decided containment isn't enough, added Junho. On the main screen, tactical simulations showed Earth's defenses being overwhelmed by the approaching Council fleet. Their weapons were simply too advanced, their ships too numerous. We need something they don't expect, Hygiene said, studying the genetic data again. Something they fear. Sungmin looked at the dormant gene sequences highlighted on the screen. We need to wake up. As their ship raced toward Earth with its vital warning, none of them noticed the subtle change beginning in their own bodies, a response to the extreme stress, fear, and determination. Deep within their cells, dormant genes stirred ever so slightly. The Council's greatest fear was beginning to come true. The emergency meeting in Seoul's underground command center buzzed with tension. Military leaders from every nation crowded around displays showing the approaching Council fleet, 200 massive warships capable of destroying Earth's defenses in hours. 3 days until they reach our outer defenses, Admiral Doohyun reported, his weathered face grim. Our combined fleets have 57 combat-ready vessels. The math is not in our favor. Hansol's team had barely escaped the Council forces, their ship limping into Earth orbit with critical information. Now they stood before Earth's Unified Defense Council, explaining what they had discovered. The Council fears our potential, Hygiene explained, displaying the genetic data they had stolen. These dormant genes exist in all humans. According to Council science, they could eventually develop into abilities that would threaten their control of the galaxy. Dr. Eun-ji Lee, Earth's leading geneticist, studied the data with growing excitement despite the dire situation. These sequences are fascinating. They appear designed to respond to certain stimuli, primarily extreme stress or danger to the species. Can they be activated? Asked the Chinese general. Eun-ji frowned. Naturally? It would take thousands of years of evolution. Artificially? Perhaps, but we'd need time for testing, clinical trials. Time we don't have, interrupted Doohyun. The room fell silent as the tactical displays updated, showing Council ships destroying the early warning stations at Neptune's orbit. Earth had already evacuated as many people as possible to underground shelters, but against orbital bombardment, these would provide limited protection. What about negotiation? Suggested a European diplomat. We could offer terms. They've already decided to eliminate us, Hansol said firmly. Ji-hai tried diplomacy. You saw what happened to her. Sungmin, who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. During our escape, I experienced something strange. Moments when I could sense what Council security would do before they did it. Others around the table shifted uncomfortably, but Unji leaned forward with interest.
Go on.
It was like knowing which way they would turn before they decided, Sungmin continued. And once, when cornered, I somehow pushed a security officer away without touching him. Unji quickly took a blood sample from Sungmin. After rapid analysis, she looked up with wide eyes.
Some of his dormant genes are showing early activation patterns.
The extreme stress of the mission may have triggered them.
Could this happen to others? Asked Do-hyun.
Theoretically, yes, Unji said. But not quickly enough to matter without some kind of catalyst. In her laboratory an hour later, Unji worked frantically, surrounded by genetic models and quantum field calculations. Hansol's team had provided the Council's own research on psionic abilities, giving her a foundation few human scientists had ever imagined. The genes respond to quantum fluctuations in brain activity, she explained to Do-hyun when he visited. I believe I can create a device to stimulate these fluctuations across a large population simultaneously. Would it work? He asked simply.
Unji hesitated. It's never been tested. It could do nothing, or it could kill everyone exposed to it. Do-hyun looked at the tactical display on her wall, showing the Council fleet advancing relentlessly. Compared to what's coming, that's a risk we must take. Earth's remaining space forces formed a defensive line at Mars orbit.
Every available ship, including civilian vessels hastily fitted with weapons, prepared for the impossible battle ahead. On Earth, Unji's device, a massive quantum transmitter, was constructed in secret facilities around the globe. When the Council fleet crossed the asteroid belt, Admiral Do-hyun sent a message on all frequencies, in plain language with no encryption.
To the approaching Galactic Council fleet, we know why you come. We know what you fear. We offer you one chance to retreat and recognize Earth's sovereignty.
Your response will determine whether humanity extends friendship or shows you what we can truly become. You have 6 hours to change course. Otherwise, pray. On the Council flagship, Supreme Commander Vex received the message with contempt.
Typical primitive bravado, he told his officers.
They have no concept of our power.
He ordered the fleet to accelerate.
The humans would be crushed quickly, added to the list of potential threats neutralized in the name of galactic stability. In her lab, Unji made final adjustments to her device as reports came in of Council ships breaking through Mars defenses.
Earth's small fleet fought bravely but was hopelessly outmatched.
The transmitter network is ready, she reported to the Unified Command.
But we have no way to know what will happen when activated.
Do-hyun looked at the faces around him, representatives of a species facing extinction.
When the Council ships enter Earth orbit, activate the device. If we're going to die, let's show them exactly what they feared.
As the first Council warships appeared in Earth's skies, Unji pressed the activation sequence with trembling fingers.
Across the planet, billions of human minds felt a strange vibration, a subtle shift in perception. And something ancient began to awaken. Private Minsu clutched his rifle as the first wave of Council dropships breached Earth's atmosphere.
From his position in the mountain defense post outside Seoul, he could see the massive Council warships hovering in the sky like metal mountains.
Earth's remaining fighters attacked bravely but were swatted away like insects. Hold positions, crackled his commander's voice over the radio. Fire only when targets are in range. Minsu's hands shook.
They all knew this was hopeless.
Council weapons could vaporize cities from orbit. This ground defense was symbolic at best.
Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through Minsu's temples. He gasped, dropping to one knee as the world seemed to spin around him. Nearby, other soldiers clutched their heads, some crying out in confusion.
Then came something else: awareness.
Minsu could feel the minds of his fellow soldiers around him, sense their fear, their determination. More strangely, he could feel cold, alien thoughts from the approaching Council forces, methodical, confident, dismissive of the human defenders.
"Do you feel that?" whispered the soldier next to him. Minsu nodded slowly. "I can feel everyone."
Above them, a Council fighter streaked toward their position, weapons charging. Minsu raised his hand instinctively, not to shoot but as if to push the threat away.
To his shock, the fighter suddenly veered off course, crashing into the mountainside 2 kilometers away. All across Earth's defenses, similar scenes were unfolding. Soldiers discovering they could sense enemy movements before they happened. Civilians finding they could communicate without speaking. Objects moving without being touched.
On the Council flagship, Supreme Commander Vex stared at his tactical displays in growing horror.
"What is happening?" he demanded as reports flooded in of impossible human resistance. His science officer, normally calm and analytical, showed visible fear.
"Energy readings are off the charts. The humans are manifesting abilities that should take millennia to develop."
"Impossible," Vex snarled.
"Their genes were dormant."
"Not anymore," the science officer replied, displaying biological scans. "Something has accelerated their evolution, exactly what the extinction protocol was designed to prevent."
In her laboratory beneath Seoul, Dr. Eun-ji monitored the global effects of her quantum transmitter with astonishment. The device had worked better than she had dared hope, creating a cascading activation of the dormant genes across the human population. "The effect is spreading exponentially," she reported to Admiral Do-hyun. "The more humans who activate, the stronger the field becomes, activating others faster." Do-hyun, who had been coordinating the desperate defense, paused as he felt the strange new awareness himself.
"I can sense the Council commanders, their thoughts, their plans."
"That's just the beginning," Eun-ji said excitedly.
"The genetic potential is far greater than even the Council realized."
In orbit, Earth's remaining ships were doing the impossible, holding their own against vastly superior forces.
Ship captains found they could anticipate enemy movements perfectly.
Engineers discovered they could manipulate their vessels' energy systems beyond normal physics. Some crews reported they no longer needed communication systems, as they could share thoughts directly. A Council dreadnought fired its main weapon at Sydney, Australia. The destructive beam never reached the surface, instead, it met a shimmering barrier of energy created by thousands of minds working in concert. In New York, civilians trapped by Council ground forces discovered they could create defensive shields around buildings with concentrated thought. In Beijing, military personnel found they could disable Council technology with focused mental energy. Minsu and his unit no longer needed conventional weapons. Moving as one synchronized entity, they pushed back against the landing forces with telekinetic force, toppling dropships and confusing enemy troops who suddenly couldn't remember their mission objectives. "They're retreating," someone shouted as Council ground forces began falling back to their ships. Aboard the Council flagship, chaos reigned.
Communications officers reported that human minds were somehow accessing their secure channels.
Navigation systems failed as ship computers responded to human commands. Some crew members collapsed, overwhelmed by the psychic presence suddenly filling space around Earth.
"We must withdraw," urged Vex second in command. "This species has become exactly what we feared." Vex stared at the viewscreen showing Earth, now surrounded by a faint luminous aura visible even from space. "Sound general retreat," he ordered finally. "Return to Council space immediately."
As the Council ships began jumping to faster than light speed, Vex received one final message from Earth, not through communication channels, but directly in his mind.
"We remember HFY Park. We remember every species you destroyed out of fear. We are coming to the Council next. Pray we show more mercy than you did." On Earth, humans everywhere were discovering new abilities by the hour.
Some could heal injuries with a touch.
Others could perceive events happening light years away.
Children born during the awakening developed abilities from birth that their parents were still struggling to control. Humanity had changed forever.
And the galaxy would never be the same.
The Galactic Council's central chamber had never been so silent. 12 days after the failed attack on Earth, a single human ship appeared in Council space, bypassing all defense systems as if they didn't exist. It now hovered outside the massive Council station, a small vessel compared to the defensive fleet surrounding it. Inside the chamber, Council representatives from 30 dominant species waited nervously.
Many had opposed the extinction order against humans but had been overruled by the inner circle.
Now they faced the consequences of that decision. The chamber doors opened. 3 humans entered: Dr. Eun-ji Lee, Director Hansol, and Sungmin.
They wore simple gray uniforms with Earth's new emblem, a DNA helix encircling a star.
You enter these chambers armed, said High Counselor Vel, his silver skin dulled with stress.
Indeed, the humans carried no visible weapons.
We are always armed now, replied Hansol calmly.
As you always feared we would be.
The council members shifted uncomfortably.
Many could feel the humans' mental presence, like standing near a powerful energy field. Supreme Commander Vex stepped forward. What do you want? Revenge? Territory? Resources?
Justice, said Eun-ji simply. Sungmin raised his hand. The chamber's central holographic system activated without him touching the controls. An image appeared: Ambassador Ji-hai Park standing bravely before the council in her final moments.
You murdered our ambassador, said Hansol.
You planned to exterminate our species. We want those responsible to face justice.
Vel's 4 hands twitched nervously.
The decision was made collectively.
Council law does not recognize. We are not bound by council law, interrupted Eun-ji. But we offer a choice.
The architects of the Extinction Order can face trial under Earth justice system, or they can experience what Ji-hai experienced.
Murmurs spread through the chamber. Vex stepped back instinctively.
What do you mean? Asked a representative from a younger council species.
Sungmin smiled slightly. We can share memories directly now.
Those responsible will experience Ji-hai's final moments exactly as she did: her fear, her pain, her death. The chamber erupted in protests until Hansol raised his hand.
Silence fell immediately. 7 species representatives voted for Earth's extinction, he said. We know who you are.
One by one, 7 council members rose from their seats, compelled by a force they couldn't resist. They moved to the center of the chamber, forming a circle.
This is barbaric, protested Vel, fighting against the invisible force pulling him forward.
No, said Eun-ji firmly. Barbaric was killing a peaceful ambassador.
Barbaric was planning to exterminate billions of innocent lives.
The 7 council members stood frozen in place. The humans closed their eyes in concentration.
Suddenly, the 7 aliens gasped in unison, their bodies tensing as Ji-hai's memories flooded their minds.
They felt her hope as she prepared for the diplomatic mission. Her pride representing Earth. Her discovery of the Council's dark secret. The fear as she realized what was happening. The pain of the energy weapon. The final moments of darkness. When it ended, all 7 collapsed to their knees.
Some wept in alien ways, others remained frozen in shock. Now you understand, said Hansol quietly.
One death experienced 7 times. A small price compared to the billions you plan to kill. The remaining council members watched in stunned silence. Many had never witnessed the inner circle humbled in any way during thousands of years of rule.
Eun-ji stepped forward. Humanity will take its place in galactic society, but not under current council structure. The systematic elimination of potential rival species ends today.
What are your terms? Asked a reptilian counselor from the Outer Rim, one who had always opposed the extinction protocols. The chamber's holographic system activated again, displaying a new galactic governance model, one with checks and balances, protection for developing species, and guaranteed rights for all sentient beings.
The old council is dissolved, said Hansol.
A new galactic assembly will take its place, where no species holds permanent power over others.
And if we refuse? Asked Vel, finally recovering his voice. Sungmin smiled. We could simply take control of your minds and force agreement. But that's not who we choose to be. Instead, continued Eun-ji, we will establish the new assembly with whoever joins willingly. Those who refuse will be contained until they no longer present a threat to others. One by one, council representatives began to signal their agreement. Even former enemies of humanity could recognize the new reality. Humans had become the most powerful force in the galaxy overnight, yet were offering cooperation rather than domination. 3 months later, Ji-hai Park's image stood as a holographic monument in the new assembly hall.
Around it, representatives from 200 species, including 17 previously thought extinct but secretly preserved by sympathetic council members, gathered to sign the new Galactic Charter. The first principle, written in every known language, stated, "All sentient beings possess the potential for growth. This potential shall be nurtured, not feared." In Earth's orbit, a memorial to Jihai displayed her final recorded words, now famous throughout the galaxy: "Remember this moment.
Humans don't forget. And we don't abandon our own."
But beside it, added by the new human leadership, were the words that would define humanity's role in the new galactic order: "Power without compassion leads to destruction.
Justice without mercy leads to tyranny.
We choose a better path."